Now, I want to point this out to you. We have a few graphics that were in the New York Times. I think this is very interesting to show you what I'm talking about. The United States has 324 million people, okay? So each square represents 1 million people. So these are 324 squares, obviously. Next graph. 103 million of them are children, non-citizens, or ineligible felons, and they do not have the right to vote. Well, of course, some small percentage of them will vote anyway, but that's beside the point. So, this group, most of them, will not be voting. Next. 88 million eligible adults do not vote at all, even in general elections. I guess they just walk around like homeless people in the streets, like zombies and drones. But anyway, 88 million don't. So based on the share of eligible adults who voted in the 2012 general election. So we already know this group is not voting. They're ineligible. This group won't vote even though they are eligible. All right? We're almost at more than half the country right now. Right here. Next chart, please. An additional 73 million did not vote in the primaries this year, but will most likely vote in the general election. That doesn't include people who voted in caucuses and so forth. Fine. So these people will not vote in a general election. These people did not vote in the primaries for the most part. These people did not vote in the primaries. Wow, we're getting to a smaller and smaller and smaller percentage of the people who chose Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Next chart. The remaining 60 million people who voted in the primaries, about 30 million each for Republicans and Democrats. About 30 million each for Republicans and Democrats. And truth be told, Hillary got 60% of this, and Donald Trump got around 60% of this when it was all said and done. Actually, he got less. He got under 50% of this. Hillary got about 60% of this. Donald Trump got less than 50% of this. Next chart. But half of the primary voters chose other candidates, my point. Just 14% of eligible adults, 9% of the whole nation, voted for either Trump or Clinton. Got that? 14% of the eligible adults voted. 9% of the whole nation voted for either Trump or Clinton. And if you want to break it up even more, they got about 4.5% each of the whole nation's vote in getting their nominations. The overall shares were about the same in 2008, the last cycle, without an incumbent president running. Mark, why are you telling us all this? I'm telling you all this for, I think, is an obvious reason. If you keep running your campaign for the tiny percentage, here's the last chart. If you keep running your campaign to get this vote out and to get this vote out, you're missing the big picture. The fact of the matter is, they need to get as many people as they can here and here. And the one who does will become president of the United States. All these people, perhaps a big percentage of these people, are not even participants. I think this is also interesting when we hear the propagandists and the surrogates for the candidates tell us, this is the people's choice. This is the people's choice. It's the choice of the people who participate. And that's to be understood. You can't force these other people to participate if they don't wish to. But I want to come back full circle. So, if you're running a campaign that is petty, if you're running a campaign that is off message, if you're running a campaign that's a cult of personality, if you're not projecting substantive, principled issues onto people's lives, onto people's workplace, in ways that resonate with them, you're going to lose. And you could lose badly. I'm not making a prediction here. I'm just saying you could lose, and you could lose badly. Donald Trump has one big thing going for him, Hillary Clinton. She's a disastrous candidate. Her negatives are through the roof. So are his. But I'm going to tell you something. I said this on radio last night. This should be a cakewalk for the Republican nominee. She was within 1 foot of the prison gate because she is an unindicted felon. And if you hammer her and hammer her and hammer her, not for email, violations, but for violations of the Espionage Act. If you quote the FBI director, as feckless as he was in doing a cover-up for Hillary Clinton by not recommending indictment, the fact is still at a political level. You could hammer her day in and day out for threatening the security of this nation by ensuring that the Russians, the Chinese, the North Koreans, and the Iranians would have access to classified information, putting her on her heels each and every day. And there's more. This deal that gave 20% of the uranium production capacity of the United States to a Russian concern controlled by Putin ultimately, there again goes to her not just competence, but her willingness to threaten America's national security. There's so many issues here to attack Hillary Clinton on. There's so much low-hanging fruit that it's ripening almost too quickly.